Oh, hey.
KZMB All Zombie Radio.
Hi, everybody. I don't know where Takeerah is. So let's go ahead and just get started and see what happens. Sorry I was 2 minutes late. Your girl drank a milkshake. And I probably shouldn't have because I'm lactose intolerant. So yeah. Anyway, okay. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Finding Found, the show in which we find things that may or may not have been found on an episode of NBC's hit television series, Found. This week's episode was season 2's episode 14, entitled Missing While Matched, which, as you can guess, is about a dating app. It was directed by Anthony Hardwick and written by Nicole R. Levy. And I do have ratings for you. Viewers in millions is 2.12. So it actually went down from last week's. It's the lowest it's been since episode 7. Episode 7 was 1.97. So, okay, hold on. Takeerah is texting me. Okay. No worries. Okay. She's got some family stuff going on and she admits the craziness, kind of forgot. So we will continue on. We will soldier on. When I said she wasn't going to be here, someone left the live, which is sad for me. um, I'm sorry to be a disappointment. She didn't even watch the episode yet. You don't want her here anyway. What is she going to talk to you about? No, we love her, and I'm sad that she's not here actually. Um, and it is hilarious that someone left as soon as I said that. anyway, all right. So here we go. Let's discuss, shall we? Okay, episode 14, Missing While Matched. It starts off with we gotta get our sting, and I've been working on it. Okay, I've been working on it, and it's okay, that's it. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Honestly, I'm pretty sure that's exactly how it sounds. They took my voice, actually. They snipped it and they use it for their title sequence. Hey, Jermaine, I'm glad you're all caught up. All right, so we start off very dramatically with a 911 call, which reveals a missing woman. Okay, so that's like the little synopsis of the time. A 911 call reveals a missing woman after a date. Lacey contemplates dating again. Sir tries bold moves to get Gabby's notice. Gabby's notice? It wouldn't be Gabby's attention? Okay, bro. I don't know. I mean, I'm not an English major. You know what I mean? Margaret and Gabby look into suspects in Jamie's kidnapping. You know what? Kind of those things all happen, but it's like such a tiny amount of the plot. Anyway. All right. So, starts off Gabby and Margaret are in the office and they are discussing the deets of Jamie's kidnapping. Kidnapping. Why did I said it like I don't anyway. I rolled right over the D. Kidnapping. And Margaret's like, I don't know. There's like I had a lot of people in my life back then. It's like the Flanagans, Trina and Eric. I'm sorry, Trina and Erica, her best friends. She's like, I had a lot of people in my life back then. And she's like, anyway, they all gave statements after Jamie disappeared as witnesses. But, now they're not witnesses. They're maybe suspects. So it's interesting because Margaret says, so my gut was telling me that someone I knew took my little boy, and Daryl and everyone else thought I was crazy. Hey, Durga, this episode was boring. Well, what? Well, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It was okay. It was okay. It's like it's weird because it's a full episode, but how did it like somehow not feel like a full episode? Like the main story is when I say the main story, should clarify that I mean really essentially what is a B plot? Because each episode is its own B plot. With the A plot, the juicy stuff, the stuff we want, intertwined around the edges, right? The B plot was weird. It's like somehow they keep making it weird, but like it's in like a different way every time. This one was weird because of the dad. I don't know. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. All right, so because their pacing sucks, to be honest, we should still be looking for Lacey. You know, they love to wrap things up in like 2 episodes, which it's not super great. I don't love it. Jermaine said I felt bad for Lacey at the end of the episode. Oh, Jermaine, we're going to talk about it. We will talk about it. We got to get there. Okay? We got to get there. All right. So Margaret's like, I for sure thought that someone I knew took him. And my husband is like, you crazy. And so they didn't end up looking into it. And she's like, so I just stopped listening to my inner voice. And Gabby's like, your inner voice saves lives, Margaret. So it's not even true. Because also it's not true. You do listen to your inner voice. You listen to it all the time. But anyway, so they're still talking about the train. They're still talking about the toy train that Margaret had assumed her daughters had stolen. And we do get a flashback scene at one point of her like frantically searching for it. But they didn't take it. It was taken apparently by someone who entered her house after Jamie had gone missing. Anyway, that train is proof that whoever kidnapped him didn't just grab him and leave. Correct. Which is like more disturbing. Don't love that it's someone you knew, but that does happen to be the case a lot of the time. Okay, anyway, Gabby's like, hey, we could tell everyone, and this could be moving a lot faster. And Margaret's like, no, I don't want to. And Gabby's trying to explain to her, like, hey, when I kept my secret, it's like, okay, one, Gabi Mosely, your secret is nowhere near. It's nowhere near the same as Margaret's. Margaret's secret is like a little secret. It's not even that big. I mean, it's like it's a break in the case finally, so I really don't understand why she wouldn't want to share it. I was frozen on my inside, so I apologize if I was frozen there. Anyway, I was saying it's just a break in the case. So I don't know why you wouldn't want to tell people, but on the other side of that, it's like it's just about the toy train. So it's not like a huge thing. It's not like, oh, secretly actually I'm the one who kidnapped Jamie and I didn't tell any of you that actually it's been me that's been holding him this whole time, because like that's the level to which Gabby's lie affected them. It was like apples and oranges. Babe, you cannot compare the two. They're not the same. But anyway, she's like, well, when I had my secret, it nearly tore all of M&A apart. Obviously, you kidnapped a serial kidnapper. and you held him in your basement like a crazy person. Yeah. Yeah, that was different. That was different. Anyway, she's like, I don't need to add on to anyone's suspicions of Jamie. And I'm like, you need to tell them something because Don is about to fight your son. For real. For real. So then I guess Don and Ethan are coming over to hang out with Lacey and Zeke. And they're gonna watch a movie. I guess. Um anyway, so they're gonna watch a movie, and then all of a sudden a woman named Shelly calls. And she's like, "See, I'm so sorry to barge into your night, you handsome, handsome man." And he's like, "Oh, I always have time for you, Shell." And Lacey's just sitting in the background like, what? Who is this? Who is this? Who is this? Why? Why? And why is this happening? Anyway, they find out that Shelly is actually a 911 operator, and she got a few hangups from a burner cell phone, and she's really worried about it because she feels like she heard something in the recording. Um Durga, yeah, where the F did Shell come from? Like, Zeke, you don't even leave the house. Yeah, exactly. Who how did she find you? Is what I want to know. Frank, lay down. Lay down. So she's worried about this, which that's fair. Now, you know what else is fair? You could hear what it said very clearly on the recording. So, Shelly, you're a bold-faced liar, and you are just trying to C block my friend here. Okay. That's what's happening. You're C blocking Lacey, is all that's going on. How you knew that Zeke was having like a movie night with a girl? I don't know, but I don't care for it, Shelly. I do not care for I'm sorry, Shell. I don't care for it. Okay. Anyway, she's like, "Hey, can I send this to you?" And Zeke's like, "Yeah, okay." It turns out she can't send it up the flagpole to her boss because she's done that too many times. So, like, she's not even good at her job. Anyway, Zeke listens to it, and then as you can hear very clearly before he enhances the audio, it says, it's Suri. Help. It's Suri. You can hear I'm gonna reenact. I'm gonna reenact the vocal difference. Okay. I'm gonna reenact it right now. Here's the first one. Okay, here's the first one. Here's the one where Shelly said she couldn't hear it really and she had to be sure. 911, where's your emergency? Hello? Hello? Help. It's Suri. Okay. That's the first one. Here's the second one after he enhances the audio. 911, where is your emergency? Hello? Hello? Help. It's Suri. It's the same. It's the same picture. Okay, it is. Someone's whispering. You can hear it. You can hear it so clearly. Y'all y'all must be joking me. It was a joke, right? We're being joked. I'm being pranked. Okay. So, he adds a filter and everything and hears the help at Surrey clearer, quote unquote, supposedly. And then Lacey's like, "Oh my gosh, Zeke, Shelly's right. This person's in trouble." And it's like, okay, well, that's fair. Anyway, they call apparently every person in the area named Zuri or anything even remotely close to that name. Now, Don does. Don's calling, Lacey's calling, Zeke's calling. Anyway, um Lacey calls Zarima Thomas, who apparently is a real bee. Anyway, they're all safe. Except there's one person that they haven't been able to reach, and that hits an 80% probability. So they Zeke created an algorithm to check this. I don't know. Is this proprietary information? Is this the algorithm that House Hunters refuses to share with other people? No, it wasn't House Hunters. I'm sorry. The proprietary information the Property Brothers refuses to share. Is this it? I don't know. This algorithm that he created, hopefully not in the 30 minutes that they've been doing this, but they whittle it down to Zuri Mitchell because she has a burner phone and also they haven't been able to get a hold of her. So, anyway, this is where Zeke is like, Shelly had a rough call a while back. There was a fatality and she's overreacted to a few calls since. Like I said, she's not really that good at her job. She got written up last time. Okay. So your new baby girl supposedly is about to get fired from her job. It's great choice, Zeke. Great choice. Great choice. Why is it not Lacey? Anyway, Zuri's phone location shows a bar downtown. It's called the C Spot Bar, which, like, what? That's such a television bar name. Nobody would ever go to a bar that name. Anyway, they go there. Her and her friends are regulars. Zuri and her roommates are regulars there. And they go to the back alley to grab a ride share. If you ever catch me, I don't care how many drunk people are out front of a bar. If you ever catch me in the back alley, like I'm dead already. I am dead already. There is no way. That's so sketch. That's so sketch. I don't know if people really do that, but I would never. And when I say this from the expert viewpoint of someone who used to drink daily because I may or may not have been a high functioning alcoholic. Okay? So this comes from knowledge and experience and drunken stupidity. I've done a lot of stupid things. If you offered me a ride home, because, well, not even home, if you said there's a party we're going to, do you want to come with us? Person we've never met, I'd be like, yeah, sure. And even I wouldn't step into a back alley to catch a ride share. Anyway. So then Lacey is trying to like dig up information on this Shelly. We're going to call her Shelly Belly because I don't care for her. So she's like, oh, Shelly. Never heard Zeke mention her before. Have you? She's trying to be like so casual. It was not casual at all. And Don's like, yeah, maybe once or twice. And he's like, but she's from like before you and Zeke were close though. And then she's like, yeah, but as all of us remember, you vehemently hated each other before him and I were close. So how do you know who she is? And I don't. And Don gives the most suspicious face, which makes me feel that Shelly was boning Zeke. I don't know. Give me your consensus. I think they went to Bonetown probably more than once. Anyway, they find a little tassel out there. It's not even a tassel, honestly. It's just like a strip of fabric. And it matches red boots that she was wearing in one of her photos. But they didn't say that the photos were from that night. So kind of a long shot. However, Zuri's phone is literally on the ground in the alley. So she is in trouble. Then they go and they talk to Shelly's. I'm sorry. I've got Shelly on the brain now. Then they go and talk to Zuri's roommates. And hi, India. Hey, I hope you're doing well too. We're just getting started, honestly. We're at the point where they found the phone. Durga says Shelly and Zeke have biblical history, coital. You know what it is? It's What do they say? That they lay with? They lay with each other? Jermaine, Shelly looks suspicious to me, honestly. I don't You know what, Jermaine? I don't even care. I don't even care what she looks like because I don't like her. I don't like her, Jermaine. I don't know. That end scene, we'll get to it. I don't like it. Did not like it. Anyway, so they go talk to the roommates. Oh, okay. Yeah. It was it was skippable, honestly. India, it's like it was okay. It wasn't super great. So, you can, if you don't like spoilers, you can go ahead and leave. Love you though. So glad that you're here. But if you are okay with being spoiled, please stay cuz we'll get into it. We'll get into it. But anyway, the big news, let me wait. Let me wait until you say whether or not you're okay with being spoiled before I'm like, you want to hear this tea? Fair point. I don't like her either. For real, Jermaine. She's the worst. I don't even know her and I'm like, I hate her. See, I'm a girl's girl and I'm team Lacey right now. And by I'm a girl's girl, I mean, but I hate this other woman. I hate this other woman. Anyway, so they go talk to the roommates. The roommates are like, yeah, we're all on dating apps. We love it. And we all are safe together. Anyway, so they're like, but we don't know who she's on a date with. She's just on a date with some guy. They made their profiles together. They all have their their logins. They share locations and all this stuff to try to keep each other safe. So they log in to the app and they find out that the date from the night previous is Alec. Oh, Durga. Yeah, that's fair. I don't mind Shelly. She's obviously a tool to push Zeke and Lacey together. That's very fair. That's very fair. I just, Shelly's just minding her own business and she's catching strays from me. Okay? And that's the way that this evening is going to go. She's going to continue to catch strays from me. She's done nothing to me. I'm furious. So he's a traveling nurse. He's in and out of town a bunch. And yes, Jermaine, it is. We saw the release thing. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it. Jermaine's talking about Walking Dead Dead City season 2. It's gonna drop in May. All right. So, did anybody is there anyone that's already dated that gave her bad vibes or anything? But she's all about fun and casual, and her dates have been cool with that, so it's not a big deal. But it is mentioned that her father was very strict with her, and that's kind of why when she moved out, she kind of went a little wild, She's going out, she's dating left and right. She's kissing some frogs. Although it's not going further than kissing, it seems. Which is fine, you do you. You do you, girl. Whatever you want to do. But it seems like it just stops there. So when we're talking fun and casual, we're talking literally fun and casual. Just getting to know people, hanging out, going out for drinks or whatever. Nothing serious. Anyway, then Famey, because I'm convinced he's still fake. Famey is walking around M&A snooping. He's looking for his toy train, little punk. But he goes into Gabby's office because he never knows when to stop. He just never knows when to stop. So he goes into Gabby's office and he's looking around in Gabby's office and he takes 2 Post-its. I only caught what the top Post-it said, which was just why it's in Gabby's desk, I'm not really sure because it references her. But it says Gabi Mosely insanity defense. Which is pretty hard to sell. It's pretty hard to sell. It does not go well. A lot of people who commit murders think that they'll just be able to go in and be like, well, I was crazy when it happened. I was so crazy. And that's why. And I'm still crazy. But a lot of the time it doesn't float because you have to be like, you have to be incapable of making decisions for yourself, essentially, is what you're saying, in order to be able to convince a jury of an insanity plea. It's rare. It's not going to happen. So I thought that was interesting because I was like, maybe for her it could, because she literally was kidnapped by this man as a child. So I could see this like getting further than a normal insanity plea maybe would. Anyway, moving on. So Don catches him because obviously, and Don says to Famey, he's like, you're getting a lot of leeway because we love your mother, but you're running out of rope fast. That's my impression of Don, I guess. I don't know. And he's like, I didn't do anything. And Don is like, you literally stole evidence. And now you're snooping around in Gabby's office. Are you serious? And do you know what his defense to this is? Bro, you watch me constantly. And you're constantly doing things wrong. He's like, maybe you took my train to run fingerprints too. Not patient enough for the DNA results. And it's like, you got caught red-handed. You absolute jabroni. Like, just fess up. Anyway. So, then Margaret walks in because this is very awkward interaction because it escalates. Because Don is like, maybe if you finally answered some questions, we could. And then all of a sudden, Famey pushes him, and then Don's like, "What?" Like it was wild. Anyway, Margaret walks in right at that moment and is like, "Hey, I found your toy train because really I'm the one who took it out of your coat pocket, and apparently I'm not telling you that. It was in the conference room." No, it wasn't. You're lying. You're lying to your fake son. Okay. So, Shelly said the entire call center is on the lookout for the burner number, but Zuri still hasn't called back, which means that the kidnapper could have found it, but that's not the case at all. So, literally, Durga, Margaret, take your angsty, thieving son, yeah, quote unquote son, home. Why is he here every day? Why is he there every day? Why is he always snooping on Gabby? It's weird. Do you know why? Do you know why, Durga? Because he's related to Sir. I guarantee it. It's too weird. His obsession with Gabby is too weird, and he's too eager to work on cases. Way too eager. Anyway, so we're moving on. Okay, so they bring in Alonzo Mitchell, who is Zuri's father, and he was a respected Navy judge, but he's no longer. And right before he retired, he was demoted from Rear Admiral to captain, which Don states that it takes a lot to get busted down in rank. He punched another officer, that's why. And so they're like, strict parent, prone to violence, didn't like his daughter's lifestyle. That's a motive. But it's like, I don't know, that's pushing it a little bit, I feel like, personally. But anyway, then it turns out Trent took Zuri's phone into evidence, so Zeke can't look at it anymore. And so he's like, yeah, we can expedite warrants on phone data so we can do this the right way. But even Gabby is like, well, that doesn't change the fact that Zeke is better at everything tech than the DCPD, and you know it. Okay, but like, you can't do... If you get the evidence in an illegal way, they cannot take this to court and win. That's how courts work. If you got the evidence in a way that's inappropriate, and not handled correctly, they could throw out the entire case and this person will get away with everything. They have to follow procedure. This ridiculousness about the not following procedure. I understand it's stupid. I understand that it takes longer. I get it. But this is the justice system in which you're working in. You know what I mean? India says, I still don't think that's her son. He's either related to Sir or someone close to Sir captured him and raised him and just has this huge obsession of Gabby and M&A like someone else we know. Yeah, I could. Okay, I like your theory on like it's either Sir or related to Sir, someone related to Sir. Um yeah, it could also just be somebody else who's obsessed with Gabby. Wouldn't that be wild? Like Sir's out of the picture finally, but then there's like a new kidnapper. I'm dead. I hope it would be Pedro Pascal if that happened. Okay, anyway, moving on. So, all right, so they patch Zeke into Shelly's workstation so he can jump on the traces. And then that was like something that Trent arranged. And so then Gabby's like, "Oh, okay. I'm okay with that." Um all right, so I'm sorry, Zuri's father does come in. There's also like it also goes to Sir, and Sir's like in prison and he's refusing to do what a guard is asking him to because he tried to call Gabby and she didn't answer. However, she also didn't block him permanently, which we'll get to as soon as she talks to Ethan. But it's weird. Anyway, he's like, if I get hurt, Gabby will come, which is wild because why would anybody think that? But okay, dude, you do you. Um Anyway, so Gabby then sees Ethan and she's like, well, Ethan is his particular brand of sass. He's like, you asked me to make time for you. You could give me 5 minutes. And and then and then she's like, I need to start therapy again. And he's like, good, you should. And he's trying to be nice. He's like, I'll make you a list of referrals. And she's like, no, with you, which is literally crazy because like he does not like you. He doesn't like you and he claims that you ruined his marriage. So maybe check yourself. And he's not licensed anymore. That's the other thing. He let his license go out. India says in a group chat with me and several fans and friends who watched and loved Bound. In another theory, we thought maybe a teacher could have captured Jamie. Maybe Heather, perhaps. Oh, yeah. But I'm convinced that Heather is Sir's sister. I mean, we don't have confirmation of that. I'm just convinced. I was irritated, like, girl, block that man forever out of your life. Just push through for real. Just hit the button. Why not? Why not? Honestly, he sucks. I mean, I don't know. Maybe she likes what she sees. Maybe she got a little bit of Stockholm syndrome. I'm not really sure. Anyway, he's like, plus you I'm not like the in-house shrink for M&A. I'm married to one of your coworkers. Like, if anything, this is a conflict of interest. And she's like, well, you call me out. You call me out when I'm like acting wild. And then she's like, and you know what I did to Sir. So I don't have to censor myself. I can just talk. I can just talk. And he's like, you and I just are like just okay now. We're not even like good. We're just like okay. He's like, this is not, I'm not doing this with you. And he leaves. Well, he tries to leave. And she's like, hey, Sir called me from jail and I had the option of blocking him forever and I didn't. And I don't know why. And everyone watching is like, yeah, literally, I don't know why either. He still leaves. He doesn't care. Ethan's like, whatever, bye. Good luck. Durga says he's definitely been coached that to bewitch Gabby, he should be smart in assisting cases. Honestly, Honestly, it's like, okay, so she kidnapped him, continually tells him, I don't need you. I don't need your help. You're just here because I hate you and I wanted to make sure you're off the streets and you're going to pay for what you did to me. But then proceeds to allow him to help like consistently. So, of course, he thinks I have to help with the cases because that's all she's given him so far. And he says, and Hugh Joseph, you really thought getting your stuff rocked was going to bring Gabby to comfort you? What is the logic there? I have no idea. I mean, he is clinically like crazy because he kidnapped a young girl, but two young girls. But it is a wild thought process. That is crazy work. Durga says, Ethan, the AI robot, I don't understand the levels of disdain he has for Gabby before he even found out about Sir. If there is an issue, he needs to take it up with Dawn. It it truly is. It truly is an issue with Dawn, but I think he doesn't want to push it with Dawn right now because of like how rocky it's been. So he's like taking it out on Gabby, which is wild for like a therapist, like a psychologist to do that because you know what you're doing, bro. Literally. Um anyway, so then we see that the receptionist went home and Famey is covering the front desk, which is weird, but fine. And then Famey says, like, I know that Margaret had it rough, but she's not the one who got taken. She can't really understand what it's like for us. And he's comparing Gabby and himself, which I felt like was a tactic to like connect further with her because I think he was sent here to try to manipulate Gabby in some way. Okay, hold on. India says, I agreed. I don't understand the hate and disdain toward Gabby. You weren't mad at Don for doing it, but more mad that he is the last to know. I'm so done with Ethan. Well, I mean, we didn't like Ethan from the beginning because he was a therapist who ended up dating his patient, which is just all sorts of wrong. So we didn't like him from the very get. Durga said, I think he's aiming to be moved from the prison. I think he was thinking a mile a minute. He's going to claim abuse in the prison. Ooh. Interesting. Okay. India says, I don't want to say this because I saw some theories on social media that Gabby has some love for Sir. I don't think so, but what do you think about that? Um, eh, I don't think it's love. I don't think it's love. But here's the thing, right? When you've been put in a position to lose control in your life, when you lose control in your life, like in a situation like this, like when you're kidnapped, or even like in a domestic violence situation where like you're with an abuser, or let's say you have a substance abuse issue and you've lost control in that way. When you lose control, especially when that control has been taken from you, like unwillingly, like by another person, you want to regain that control. That's really like the biggest thing. But it shakes who you are so much to your core that it's hard for you to like see yourself in a non I view it as like it's almost like they change you so that your reflection to you looks like a cubist painting. Right? Like all of a sudden you don't look the same anymore and you don't see yourself the right way because they've distorted your concept of you so much by taking control from you and doing things like all those scripts that she had to read, like that was manipulating how she spoke. So all of that was kind of damaging her and damaging her psyche, but also damaging her identity, like her self identity. And then as a result, when you get free from that, some of that can still linger, especially if you don't work through it the right way, which Gabby went to a preacher after and did a little bit of therapy. Okay. She did a little bit there. Then she's with Gina and Lacey, and she's a child helping to facilitate and manage the emotions of a small girl and the small girl's mother and the small girl's father. So she has not ever, I think, dealt properly with her emotions. And I think that was made abundantly clear by the fact that she kidnapped him. But there is a connection, but it's not, yeah, it's not love. It's not love. I think it's like, yeah, okay, yep, exactly. Okay, so India says, I don't think it's love either, but it is like some kind of trauma bond or something. I could see that. She trauma bonded for sure with Lacey, but there is a bond, whether or not you want it, there is a bond that happens between someone and essentially their abuser, right? That bond does exist. And that stays, yeah, something that just stays with you forever, especially in Gabby's situation, coming from a young age and now grown in her own self, but not. And then Durga said Gabby has a weird connection to Sir that he could misconstrue as love. He does, I think he does think it's love. I mean, yeah, he's deluded himself to think that. I said that like I'm a genius or something. That's obviously media literacy. Anyway, Gabby has a multitude of emotions for Hugh. Remember, at one point, he was her favorite teacher. She wants her power back, hence M&A. So I agree. Durga, that's 100% what it is. And it's like, you're right, India. There is a bond. It's not love for her. It's not love. The trauma bond is 100% there between her and Lacey. I don't, it's like you could call it a trauma bond. I think when we talk about trauma bonds, we talk about like the relationship is like, if I trauma, like let's say trauma bond, because trauma bond is like out there in the zeitgeist, right? As like vernacular that we use when we're talking about, like, let's say we work in a stressful environment. So we joke about how we're like trauma bonded to our coworkers. So a lot of the time we joke about it as though it's like this positive thing, like you've built like these successful connections with other people. But I think if you use it in the true sense of that term, like trauma bond, like she is bonded to this man forever because of what he did to her. And yeah, my question is that why does Hugh see that as love and continuing to hold on to his idea of this quote unquote family, especially all the stuff he has done to her and her friends? It's because Hugh is so damaged from his childhood. Now, we don't have a ton of information about his childhood. We only got that little flashback. But his mother did some messed up stuff to him because his concept of love, like, here's the thing. Hugh, if we went back to like baby Hugh, he was not the villain. He was the victim. But that made him a villain later because instead of being a victim and saying like that really sucks, now I want to help people, he's like, I'm a victim and now I'm going to hurt people because that's how I see love now because I'm so jacked up from what my mother did to me. Durga, there was already a bond that he betrayed, but it was there before the trauma. And that to me is huge. Her brain and neurological chemicals, I felt love once. Yeah, that's the thing. She loved and respected him, but that wasn't enough for him. It had to be more than that. And that's because he can't process love correctly because of what has happened to him. Now, I'm not saying like that's not an excuse. That 100% that's not an excuse. He has to take ownership of that. Like that's not okay. You can't just be like, "Well, yeah, I'm in love with a child because my mom messed me up." Okay, well, like you still have to take accountability for your actions. India says, I mean, I partially can see why he sees it like that because of his mom and childhood. But girl, she messed him up 100%. Baby and teen, Hugh didn't deserve it. Truly. And see, that's why that aspect of the story is so riveting, I think, to us because we got to see a sneak peek at that. And I think it's honestly, it's what makes true crime lovers, right? Like we get to know the story behind the victims, but also the killer. And it's interesting to know and a lot of the time they had really horrible upbringings. But the difference is that like a lot of people have horrible upbringings. Not all of them end up being serial, or hers. Durga says that bond, I think, makes it harder for her to make definitive decisions when it comes to him. Also, the specter of Hugh has been on her for so long that it probably feels like a comforting fear. I could see that from a brain chemistry standpoint, right? Like she was in fight or flight mode for most of her life now. And so Hugh being locked up and knowing 100% that you're safe probably feels undeserved to her, even though it's not. And then where do you put all of that adrenaline and energy that you're used to kind of living and sustaining off of? Where does that go then? India says, I just wish that they bring that aspect more to see how he got to be this sir, along with the other backstories, hopefully in season 3 and future seasons. I really would like to even receive more now, but it does seem like this season is going to be all about Margaret's story, which is fine. I was very interested in Margaret's story. Durga says, I study neurology. I go straight to the brain. Honestly, it is so interesting because, you know, your neural pathways go the path of least resistance. So I talk about this constantly at work because, you know, it's easy for us to get like really down and out and kind of like down in the dumps about like, oh, I have to go to work, oh, it's like it's so miserable. But the more that you stay like that, the worse that it is, because your neural pathways just, they're like, oh, that's the path that's the easiest, it's the negative path, let's just head on down there. Zoom zoom zoom, there your neurons go, heading down those neural pathways telling you that life sucks. And honestly, it doesn't have to, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to. Like, sure, there are things out of your control, but like you can also just have a more positive mindset and kind of shift to that gratitude mindset instead, and think about all the things you do have in your life, because you know, if we live in a country where we're able to like go to whatever store we want and get what we want, I can drive in my car and I have a roof over my head and I have a dog and like I get to be married and like all this stuff. Like there's so much to be. Anyway, I'm going off on a whole rant, but anyway. Durga says, and Gabby hasn't had time to reset and heal those neural pathways. She cared for everyone else 100%. That is why it is so upsetting to me to see those scenes with Gina, because Gina was relying way too heavily on Gabby. And that is inappropriate for an adult woman to rely so heavily on a teen girl. India says, I'm interested in Margaret's story, but I feel like it's dragging just a bit. Yeah, for real. If that makes sense. It is dragging. Like, I would just like to know if Jamie is Jamie and who took him. 100%. That's what we're all waiting for. Like, you gotta we gotta take a whole season with this? I don't, just tell me. Anyway, okay, so like fake Jamie is trying to connect with Gabby in this weird way. And and he's, you know, he's like feigning interest in how she built M&A and stuff. And she's like, pain can be useful if you let it guide you to your purpose. And he's like, you think helping people will help me? And she's like, I don't know. I don't know. And he's like, do you think I could try? And he's like, maybe I could pitch in on this case a little, which is like, stop pushing. Stop pushing. It's weird. It's so weird. Anyway, they give some files to Lacey. I mean, Lacey brings him some files so he can look. And there's a flashback then, and it's like Margaret's looking for the train, and there's a detective coming, and they're prepping for a press conference. But she's like, she's having a hard time focusing because she's focused on trying to find the train, which, as it turns out, she had every right to focus on, because as it turns out, it was taken most likely by his kidnapper. So Alonzo's talking about how, like, you know, he tried to warn Zuri about all the guys she was dating and stuff, um and he's like eventually the questioning goes down a line that he's like, you think I did this? And they're like, well, you have a history of violence on your naval record. And 100%. So what he says is, he's like, one time. And that is 100%, because I love I love this show. That's why I cover it. But M&A does have a history of like really taking like tiny details from a person's record and blowing that up as though that defines them as a person, which is ridiculous because they don't want to be defined by those little things. They don't want to be defined as people who have been kidnapped. They don't want to be defined by that. So why are you doing that to other people? I digress. So Alonzo is like, I have been the judge on more sexual assault cases than you can imagine. Horrible stories. And one night I'm in the officer club and another officer is harassing a young waitress. I intervene, it escalates, and I punched him. What of it? And they're like, oh, so the demotion was worth it to you. And he's like, damn right it was. Which, amen. I love that. Good for you, sir. Thank you. And he's like, I would never hurt my daughter, though. And then he says, because they're like, did you know she had a burner phone? He's like, she used it? And then they discover he's actually the reason she has a burner phone and that she knows to hide it on her body when she goes on these dates is because dad gave her that advice, which is top-notch advice. I love it personally. Didn't do it because I was very careless. But if you're out in the dating world now, I think you definitely should. That's a great idea. India says, so is fake Jamie trying to be part of the team now? He is. He's the worst. Durga says, oh, M&A is going to make the villain expeditiously. They're going to find it. They're going to find the villain. Even if it's not the right person. Even if it's not the right person, they'll find them. India says, I agree. That is a con from M&A. Take one thing and blow it up into this whole other thing. And I'm like, come on, focus on what's important. It's just like a weird thing that they do. It's all right. It's okay. We're going to choose to ignore it most of the time. But in this instance, I was like, I can't ignore this because you're accusing this man of hurting his daughter. I can't ignore it. I can't. Okay. So they're very, everyone's really concerned. They're trying to come up with people that may have hurt Zuri. And dad remembers a girl named Jayla. And Jayla is also in the graduate design program at George Washington University. And they're like, lay down. Not that. No drama, ma'am. Not right now. So they were both competing for the same internship, and Jayla got mad that Zuri got the internship, so she posted lies about Zuri online. And anyway, we come to find out that actually, Jayla, she's like, yeah, I posted stuff online because she like got the job because of her dad. Which, I mean, I personally don't love because I would hate if that happened to me. But like, whatever, baby girl, it already happened. She already found another internship, so she doesn't even care. She's like, I don't even care about this girl. I have moved on. I'm doing my own thing. I'm not worried. So I don't know why you are. India says, oh, I'm sorry. Nope. Durga says M&A needs sir. 100%. 100%. Because anytime they bring up stuff like that, he's always like, that's not who it is. Don't think so simplistically. Amen. Truly. Sir is correct in that way. Okay. So they did get security footage from the bars. Nothing really there. They check with the other men that she matched with. Their alibis all check out. They find out that Alec is actually a scammer. He has many different bios, and he's a producer in California, a chef in Miami, and a nurse in DC. And so they pull in Alec for questioning. They talk to him. He's like, I didn't kidnap her. We were making out in the alley. And I thought that the evening was going to end, with a little bow chicka bow wow. And it did not seem that was the case of what Zuri wanted, because she straight up socked him one in the eye hard. Because bro has a huge black eye. It was crazy. It was literally crazy. Anyway, they're like, well, that sounds like a motive. And he's like, I am not a kidnapper. And they're like, oh, okay. Well, you're just a con man. And he's like, no, no, no. Women give me money as gifts because with my little D, I give it to them so good. That was the energy it was giving, honestly. And it's like, no, these women have filed charges against you because you stole stuff from them. And then Gabi comes out of left field with this wild line. Okay, here you go. Trent's like, the 3 women who filed theft charges on you in California and Florida beg to differ. And Gabi states, add a kidnapping charge, and the only dating you'll be doing is as Bubba's bitch in Cell Block K. Ah! What? What? It was the best line in the whole episode. Honestly. India says, God, if they brought Sir into that M&A dynamic, like as some type of community service or something, that would be really messed up. It would be messy AF. It would. And Durga says, I would love that. An old work release deal. What's that called? Huber? He's out on Huber. India, I feel like if they bring that dynamic, that team would be on Hugh's tail 100%. I love it, honestly. Okay. How sitcom-y. It'd be so funny. Okay, so then he's like, fine, here's the truth. After Zuri punched me, because I'm a weenie baby, I called a woman I met last week and I told her I got mugged. Again, because I'm a weenie baby. And she let me come over. And he said, look, if you check my phone, you can see I snuck her passwords. Wow. Gabby's like, so your alibi to kidnapping is you were too busy stealing? Interesting. But it literally is his alibi. Okay, so he'll be off the streets at least. Gabby notices that Trent has Christian's autopsy report. Everything is still pointing to suicide. And they're just waiting for the ME to sign off on it, so we'll see if they catch anything. Okay, so now we go back and Zuri has been able to make contact with 911. So she's on the phone with dispatch and she's like, I think I was drugged. I was in the alley. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. And she's like, my side hurts. There's blood. Maybe I've been stabbed. I can't tell. It's dark in here. And so they try to have Zuri use her phone to check. And she's like, there's maybe some shelves. It hurts every time I move. My phone was in my boot and it took forever to get to it because of the pain in her side. And then they're like, well, did you hang up earlier or do the calls keep dropping? And she says that it is actually the calls are dropping. So she's like in a space where like she cannot maintain reception. And that's making it hard for Zeke to try to trace where the call is because the signal is unstable. So they're like, before you move, turn down the volume on your phone in case we have to call you back so that your kidnapper doesn't know that you have a phone. Which, like, thank God, because so often we see stuff like this and then all of a sudden they get a call and it like ruins everything. Durga says, imagine Don and Hugh. Like they're the dream team, you know, in an alternate universe, they're the dream team. Don and Hugh would be just a mess. Don will be on that tail protecting Gabi through and through, especially in episode season 1, episode 12, when Don roughed him up. Hugh needs that again. Girl, we need that again. We need that. I need that scene again. So they keep her on the line as long as they can. And then they tell her things like, so Lacey actually gives the advice. She's like, tell her to hide her phone under her body and play dead. And so that is the plan that they give her, which I'm glad. Like this is all like good advice, you know, like pretending to be dead, like all this stuff. They also tell you to pee on yourself. This is like grosses a lot of people out. So just some real life advice. Okay, so I'm gonna skip past the part where the girl gets called in because we don't care about that for the internship. She already found her own. But Alonzo's name got brought up again, obviously, so they want to talk to him again. And really, what they need him to do is they just need him to figure out, like, he was a judge. Is there anyone in your past that could be so angry at you that they would want to kidnap your daughter and try to hurt her? So he's got to look into that. So they can't do a press conference because of that, because it could tip off the kidnappers that they've been in touch with Zuri. So they can't do that. Trent went missing because he got a phone call, and we know that it was because of Hugh getting roughed up in prison, but nobody else knows that. And the kidnapper did know Zuri's habits. Like, they knew what bar she went to, they knew that she would be going out on a date. They knew all of these things. So it seems like it was, as they call it, a quote unquote well executed op. So they were obviously looking for her. And so that's the belief, is that it has to do with dad. Something about somebody dad put away. Um Don finds out that Jamie stole the post-it notes from Gabby's desk, and he's like, "Kid, if you lie to me one more time, even Margaret won't be able to protect you." And he's like, "Are you threatening me?" It's crazy. I'm sorry. This is the part where they push each other. This is the part where they push each other. And anyway, he still refuses to admit anything. So he's fake. He's fake. Um, so Alonzo puts together some cases that he thinks might be possible. He's like, I did give some harsh sentences because I believe in the code of the military. And so when you don't honor that, then I give you a harsh, penalty as a result. Okay, so Alonzo continues to work on his list essentially. They try to talk to Margaret about the fact that Jamie needs some boundaries. He's he can only be allowed in the lobby in the conference room for right now. He only gets case access when Gabby says so. And that and Jamie had run off because he was angry. So they're like, if you want to leave, Margaret, you can, but she doesn't. Zeke is struggling to still try to figure out where the cell phone signal is coming from. And then Margaret's like, so this is around the time that Gabby would normally tap in Sir. And then she tells them that she did get a call from him, but that she didn't take it. And she's like, but I won't turn to him now. We're going to figure this out on our own. We don't need him. Okay, so oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. You guys are talking about this ridiculous plot. I love it. Durga says Hugh walking through M&A like, my Gabrielle this, my Gabrielle that. Don would lose it. India says Don would 100% lose it, and Lacey would also be on that on that ass completely, and I don't blame them for being on 100 for Miss Gabby. Don and Jamie push each other. The audacity of fake Jamie, what the hell? Yeah, for real. And then and the Durga's like, take Jamie home. Doesn't Jamie have a dad that misses him? Bro, they still haven't told them. She still hasn't told them. This is crazy. She still hasn't told. I cannot believe she has not told her ex-husband and her daughters that supposedly she found their brother, and she's not telling him. It's so nuts. Anyway, so Trent goes to visit Sir and kind of is like, oh, so you did this because you thought Gabby would come here? You fool. Never gonna happen. And then Zeke freaks out because the line went dead. Excuse me. Atrocious. I'm so sorry. The line went dead because she calls her dad and she wants to tell him I love you just in case I don't make it. And then Gabby's like, hey, focus on your five senses and tell me. And so she touches around her and the walls are concrete. Everything smells musty. The sound is traffic, but it's above her. So obviously she's underground somewhere. And then they're like, "Can you find a door?" And she's like, "I'll try." And then all of a sudden we hear like a horrible sound in the background and the line cuts. Um Everybody kind of starts to feel guilty here. Like Zeke feels like panicked and guilty because he didn't get the signal. And it's like, that's ridiculous. How could you do that? You didn't have the opportunity. And then Gabby is like, I pushed her too hard. So that also is part of the ridiculous thing. Um Margaret is foul. That's why this can't be the real Jamie. For real, Durga. And he says Hugh looked like a big ass toddler in that cell. Tore up and sad as hell. Like, come on now, Hugh. Why? Not a big ass toddler. I can't. He's in his onesie. Okay. So everybody's kind of feeling sorry for themselves. And Lacey gives like a little bit of like encouragement to Zeke. And, she's like, you guys found me. It's fine. We just have to keep working. And so they look at the list, okay? And then it's like the list is long, so they're like worried about it. And they're like, "Gabby, what are you thinking?" And she's like, "Well, Zuri's kidnapper got close to her, knew about her dating habits, but didn't know about the burner phone or they would have taken it from her." And then they're like, "That means it's someone she knows, but she doesn't confide in them." And that's when someone's like, "Double check all the names." It may have been Famey that said this. And they're like, "Double check them for what?" And because Famey does come in at this part, because he kind of like pieces this together, which is crazy. They're like, well, if somebody bad got close to Zuri, they would use a fake name. So if Zuri ever mentioned them to Alonzo, he wouldn't recognize it. And the easiest way to remember your fake name is to use part of your real one, which is what Jamie is talking about, which leads me to believe that he has a different first name. Maybe Jamie is his middle name. India says that's why I can't help but to say Hugh's emotional age stopped at his teenage years, and hence why he still acts like a love-struck teenager, but also a bratty toddler. He is 100% a bratty toddler. He's the brattiest. But like, if a toddler spoke really eloquently and really loved English literature. Anyway, okay, so they're like, the kidnapper knew about her dating habits. So who knows about her dating habits? Her roommates, the two girls. Peyton, Zuri has talked about before, but I don't know a Riley, because it's Peyton and Riley, and the dad's like, I don't know who Riley is. And they're like, that's because Riley just moved in. And then her actual name is actually, it's not Riley West, it's actually Victoria Riley Weston Brand. Jamie didn't catch Nicholas. He was Dawson from Dawson's Creek. No, that's a different white guy, Durga. But why do they remind me of each other? Why? Why does James Vanderbeek remind me so much of Mark? Why? You're right. You're right. You're 100% right. Um, Dawson is the worst character on Dawson, 100%. Although Pacey isn't so great himself. Actually, all of them are pretty awful. Anyway, um, so they're like, wait, I remember that name. There is a case file. She was a defendant in one of the cases. So it's her. She was charged with drug distribution. Um, anyway, so he ordered a psych eval on her, and the findings were very clear. She's a narcissist, a master manipulator, and suffers from antisocial personality disorder. So Riley's the ringleader, but she tried to play innocent and she was given a dishonorable discharge by Alonzo. And she tried to she essentially conned Zuri and then attacks Zuri to punish Alonzo. So they finally figure out something. They figure out that she's in a bomb shelter. And so they go to get her. And at this point, we see that Riley is there, like threatening Zuri. And when they catch her, she starts crying. Which I was like, that is so weird. But then Trent is like, you can quit the crocodile tears. No one's buying them. And she's like, it's worth a shot. Wild response. Absolutely wild response. So then Alonzo and Zuri are reunited. And as it turns out, like the burner phone is really what saved her. So she's very thankful. She is in the hospital. She's okay. She asks to see Zeke and Shelly. Zeke shows up via teleprompter, obviously, and Shelly's there in person, and they just like, it's like a little thank you scene. Then they do the welcome home, then they play a song, and then Famey is like, "Hey Margaret, can we go somewhere and talk?" And so as they're leaving, Margaret turns and she's like, "Tell them about the train. We're a family. I don't want any more secrets." All right. Durga says, I mean, it's the same character, a whiny teen with a lengthy lexicon. It is 100%. You're right. That's so weird. It's like if Dawson became a kidnapper. India says, agreed, Durga, but in found he was a whiny teenager stuck in an older man's body who just thinks so highly of himself, but just like snooty. Yeah, that's Dawson. 100%. Because like if it's like Dawson today. The acting was so bad. The acting was not great. Yeah, free Hugh so we can get Zeke out of the house for real. Okay, so she tells Gabby to tell them about the train. So Jamie takes Margaret to there's a whole thing with Sir here, but I don't really care about it. It's like, he's like, I'll get my Gabrielle back. Gabrielle and I are connected. We are family forever. Mark my words, she will come here. She probably will, but I don't know why. And I don't know. We don't need to deal with it. It's fine. It's fine. Ethan does come to talk to Gabby because he said this bond with Sir is a little too intriguing for any psych professional to back away from. But he says flat out, this cannot be a secret from Don. If I'm giving you therapy, you are telling him. And she agrees to that, which is fine. So then we get a really quick scene with Zeke and Lacey. Zeke is ripped. What? Like wildly ripped. And he's super sweaty because he just had a workout. And they're going to do movie night again. But this time, Don and Ethan are busy. So it's just the two of them. And Lacey put You've Got Mail. She picked You've Got Mail as her pick. And Zeke is like, I don't know about this movie. And so he's like, I'm going to go take a shower. But then somebody knocks at the door and it's Shelly Belly. And she's showing up with champagne. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt anything, but I'm still going to come in. And then Lacey's like, okay, I'm going to go. I forgot that my fish need to be walked. I have to leave. So she leaves. And it was weird. It was just super weird. Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I thought Jamie was setting Margaret up to be arrested. 100% Durga. That is exactly what crossed my mind. And he said, I'm still stuck on how he was trying to fix the problems of the team. Like, what are you going to do for Lacey and Don? Kidnap Lacey, obviously, that solved all of her problems. What? He didn't do anything. He made everything worse. He's really bad at fixing things. Durga says, honestly, he's right. I would be all over the Gabby Sir relationship. Give me every detail in great detail. um, India says, the way you acted when he thought it was Gabby and then saw heavy boots and slid his ass back down. Like, I just hope and pray these men are half brothers, the mess of it all. Lacey, tell your feelings and get your man, please. Durga says, my mom took us to see You've Got Mail as kids and we left early because she hated it. My mom will walk out of a movie in a heartbeat. I mean, like, it's cheesy. It's a fine movie. It's like so cheesy. Okay, so Jamie takes I'm sorry, fake Jamie takes Margaret to the bus station, and she's like, I can't go in. And he's like, no, you can. I promise. Trust me. So she walks in. And then Jamie says, when I left M&A earlier, I just walked. And eventually I ended up here. And then Margaret's like, yeah, this place is like an important part of our story. And he's like, it's what I told your friend Raphael when I ran into him. He knew who I was without even asking. And she's like, Raphael used to put up the flyers back up if people took them down. He's been staring at your face for years. But if he recognized you, which is interesting because honestly, he doesn't look like Jamie to me. So this is kind of interesting. Jamie says, and he's happy for you, Mom. He promised to keep my secret or my return a secret. And also, miraculously, he has lifted the restraining order. And she's like, what? Why? And he's like, because I asked him to, which I don't know why she would believe him because this is obviously a lie. All of this is obviously a lie. And then he's like, because I asked him to, and I said we needed to come back here to deal with our past. And so then they're talking, and it's like, you're such a puzzle to me. And she says, like, I worry constantly that you'll leave and you'll disappear again. I think you want to stay, but I'm not sure if it's for me or for your interest in M&A that's keeping you here. And he's like, well, can it be both? And she's like, so there are going to be some new ground rules for M&A. And he's like, well, I figured there would be. Let me guess, I'm only allowed in that fishbowl conference room where everyone can watch me. And she's like, well, also the lobby. And anyway, she says, the day that you disappeared from this spot, the pain, it almost killed me. And I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. So I've kept my promise. I mean, keeping your return a secret. But I can't let another mother feel that kind of pain. And if your kidnappers take another child, he's like, they won't. She's like, how could we know that for sure? And he's like, they wanted me. Okay, just me. And I won't tell you who they are. I can't. Okay. So please stop asking me. And then he leaves. And she's like, wait, you're leaving? And he's like, I just need some time, but I'll see you at M&A tomorrow. I promise. And then it replays that line. The easiest way to remember your fake name is to use part of your real one. Nicholas. So then it's like the press conference kind of thing. You know, they're talking about like how he has sisters and how he's the best boy and he's a good boy. And they talk about how Margaret's been passing out the flyers constantly. He's not him. He's not. Okay, so Durga said he still could be. He left her there. He left Margaret at the place she lost him. I hate Jamie. Yeah, I don't like him. And didn't we get an age projection pic of Jamie in season 1? I believe we did. I don't think he looked anything like this guy. India says, I just need Jamie, quote unquote Jamie, to go somewhere, please. And can the real Jamie please stand up? 100%. And Durga says, when she called out Nicholas, to me, it looked like, what are you talking about? He missed his middle name. Exactly, because his middle name is Jamie. Maybe. But his name is not Jamie Nicholas. Because he's not him. He can't be. I don't know. It's not adding up. I still feel uncomfortable about it. It's not adding up at all. It's just not. I don't think it's him. And I really hope that we get more story from some of the other characters this next week, because these bad B plots, I can't handle it. So I hope the B plot is at least interesting. Sometimes they are, but this one was not great. I mean, it's like, okay, going missing while like being matched with someone is fine, but like it would have been more, I think it would have been more exciting if it had been like, if it had been a guy that she had been on a date with, or, you know, a fake Uber driver or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that to me would have been more interesting than this. Um, yes, Durga says, and Margaret caught that he missed his middle name. Yes. And he says we got an age progression in season 1 and in first half of season 2 with the scene of Sir and Margaret in the office. Oh yeah, that's right. But it doesn't look like this kid. Oh my goodness. India says for episode 15, we're finally getting into the Trent Sir drama saga of it all. Thank goodness. I need more Sir in my episodes, you know? These little clips of him in prison ain't doing it for me. Okay, so next week's episode will air. Oh no. It's not next week. It's 2 weeks from now. Man. Lame. The next episode is scheduled to release on March 13th. I ain't happy about it. It's entitled Missing While Seeking Asylum. And oh. And he says, guess who's back? Miss Heather, aka Miss Lena Evans, is making an appearance. I love that. Durga says they need to stretch the B plot out to at least 30 episodes. They have to work on their pacing or they won't last. They have too many breaks. It feels like they wrote for chunks and not the season. This has been this has been kind of weird. The season's been a little bit weird, and I don't love that they're taking all these breaks. These like 1 week breaks. This is gonna be horrible for ratings. If you don't have a consistent show, it's like it's not good rating wise. India says, I know I was mad AF that this is coming out on March 13th. Like, come on now, NBC. I don't like it because to me it feels like they're trying to bury the show, which I do not love. But I don't know if SVU is taking a break or something too, or if they have like one of those 2-hour episodes and that's why. I'm not really sure. It is weird. Okay, so Missing While Seeking Asylum will be episode 15. It was directed by Michael Schultz. And Michael Schultz did direct in season 1. Missing While Interracial. He did that episode. And then it was written by Michael G. Peterson. And Michael G. Peterson wrote episode 6 of the second season, Missing While Gabi Mosely. He also wrote and the director was Michael Schultz on this episode, but he was also the writer for Missing While Interracial, which was season 1, episode 11. So that pair is working together again. Okay. So that'll be March 13th, which is sad because that means we will not be doing anything this next week. I do want to mention that Michelle Trachtenberg passed. If you don't already know, that news just came out yesterday, and that is extremely sad. And so that's sad, especially after all the talk about Buffy that's been like in the air recently, and like Takeerah and I agreeing to cover Buffy when found second season is over. It's really sad to me to hear that and to know that she essentially Michelle Trachtenberg is like a year older than me. Michelle Trachtenberg and I were like the same age. And so it's super, super sad to hear. She's too young to have passed. And so anyway, this is just something I want to mention. It's a loss. I've loved her since the adventures of Pete and Pete. And so it is sad to see her gone. India says in episode 15 also, someone is coming to support Sir, which I think is Heather, but I also saw in the promo that Trent is manhandling Hugh in the waiting area again. Also, I feel like for future seasons, I want them to expand, but also make it a little more grittier, if that makes sense. Like I said, I mean, I think, if this is airing on the same day as SVU, um, you can go darker with this show. You could go darker. People can, you know, and that would be okay. I think like the audience would be okay with that. It's not that that's what I want to happen in the world, but that's realistic. This everybody living every episode thing is not realistic. It's not. Or like why don't we see the beginning of cases where they're unable to solve it right away? I know we have Jamie's case that's unsolved, but like other than that we've not had anything. I would like that too. I think grittier would be better. I think they could go darker with this and that it would be well received. India says, I know I heard about it. I grew up with so many childhood memories. She will be dearly missed. Durga said SVU looks like it's off next week too. That must be why. They're really trying to like package this as like a deal. Durga says, Michelle, I was so sad. Not only Buffy, but Harriet the Spy. I know. India says, that's what I'm saying. Law and Order SVU has the same TV rating and it is a lot darker. It is. I mean, it talks about sexual assault, murder, all sorts of stuff. I agree. That's what I want. I wish they would go dark. I really wish that they would go darker for it. I think that it could be so cool and so interesting and so much more like the true crime that is really trying to like create this like fictionalized version of. But those stories don't always end happily. And I'm not saying that these are ending happily. These people will have trauma, but we're not even getting to see that. So we're not getting anything. It's just like smiles and rainbows and then all of a sudden, that's it. Durga says, did you watch Merlin? They started as a kids show and when they realized adults were watching, they got dark. Yes, I did. I didn't watch all of Merlin, but I watched a little bit of Merlin and it gets better like later. And that's the thing, like you're airing after SVU, like you should be as dark as their episodes are, if not darker, because you're airing later. This is too fluffy. It's too fluffy. I want it to be grittier because I want it to do well, and I think that it could do well if it would go that route. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens. So, yes, Durga, the stories usually end the complete opposite way, 100%. 100%. India says exactly. I want it just a bit more realistic from here on out. The grittier would be greatly appreciated. I agree. I really, really agree. All right, everyone. I'm gonna have to wrap this up. But thank you for being here. Thank you, India, for stopping by. Durga, Jermaine. We've got other viewers in the audience. I thank you for being here. Feel free to chime in comments whenever. If you don't feel comfortable, that's okay too. But we'd love to hear what you have to say about it. And I will not see you next week, which is so sad. Which is so sad. I'm hoping for a season 3 renewal as well. Here's the thing. I'll be honest with you guys. If that doesn't happen, I'm still going to be around and I'll still find other things to cover. So we will be doing the Buffy coverage, which I'm excited about. Takeerah and I also did the 4th season of True Detective, which was weird and not great. But we did cover it, and there were moments that were pretty funny. I mean, some of the scenes are really poignant. Some of them are just straight up weird, but we did cover that. So there's always things that we will cover. So, and I can usually rope Takeerah into some of these types of things. Whereas like these types of shows are not what I cover on Squawking Dead, the podcast that I participate in. We cover things like right now we're doing season 3 of Dark Winds. So those episodes aren't airing because we have screeners, so we're like recording right now. But yeah, there's, no matter what, we'll be around, we'll come up with something and I will happily take suggestions from you should that ever be the case to cover other things. So you just tell me. Durga says, "How can we write them? I want it to go so well. They have to pace better." No, seriously, thank you guys. Thank you guys. Yeah, you'll see me on March 14th, and hopefully Takeerah will be able to make it back. India says, "See, me and my friends have been thinking about it, but there is no direct address to write them." Yeah, and I've never contacted NBC for screeners or anything, so I don't have any contacts over there. I'm so sorry. I have no idea. Sometimes if you write like NBC Network found press into Google, sometimes you can find like a press portal that Durga, hold on. Sometimes you can find a press portal that'll get you like some email contact names that you can contact, and you could even ask them like, "Hey, who do I send this to if I'm interested in sending?" They'll usually get you to the right place, but that's a way to look into it too. Otherwise, Domain Davis. Do you want to give Domain Davis a reach? That would probably be helpful. She's pretty active on Twitter. She's pretty active. I don't know if you can hear this, but I'm receiving a lot of scolding, a stern talking to right now for my dog. Yeah, check it out on Twitter. Durga, Attack on Titan is bomb, and I would totally cover that. I totally would. It's so good. And he says we did do a hashtag yesterday of how we found the show, found while the episode was playing. Oh, I love that. I used to live tweet, but it's on so late, and I've been so busy, I haven't been able to do it, but really love to live tweet. But you should tweet at Domain Davis for the like, "Hey, I want you guys to get renewed. These are my thoughts." And hopefully she can get them into the right hands. You know, just tell her we want grittier. Durga says, "Oh my god, it's my favorite show, a literal masterpiece." I don't I don't think there's anything better than Attack on Titan and Eren, the best character development ever. I love Eren. I really do. Anyway, did you see I like floated off to a different place just anyway, yeah, so I'll still be around no matter what, guys. So we can land on something else that you like if the renewal doesn't happen. But I'm hoping that it does, because covering Found has been fun, and it's been fun to meet you. So I would love to continue doing this. Anyway, I love you guys so much. You're perfect little angel babies. I love you, love you, love you. Mwah! I'll see you 2 weeks from now. I'm so sad. I'm so sad. If I am not busy and I'm bored, maybe I'll come online and we can do Jackbox games or something. Would you guys be into games? Would you be bored enough on a Friday night to play games with a millennial woman? As if you would. I would maybe do that. I don't know. You tell me. Nia says one of my friends, mutuals, are doing that. They messaged her, but she said there is no direct address though either. Oh, okay. All right. Well, love you guys. Maybe I'll see you next week. I'll decide if I'm super bored. Maybe we'll go live. I haven't played games in a while, but I wouldn't mind it. We could do that. We could do Jackbox or something. I don't know. We'd find something to play. You know what I miss? Yahoo Games. I miss playing Pictionary on Yahoo. That's like from so long ago. Okay. If you guys would play games, then I'll try to do a live next week, and we'll just do games. Same time, same place, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my channel. So I'll see you, sweet, perfect angel babies.